Welcome to Passion Project time during your 7th grade Gifted and Talented Language Arts class. Hopefully you have finished your book and developed a research question and sub-questions. Now you will begin your actual research. You will have days that are maddening and frustrating and other days that are exhilarating and fun. Go into it with an open mind and the curiosity of a kindergartner and you will do great. When you enter into the computer lab, you need to remember that you are the one who is dictating your time, and you are the one who is dictating what you learn. You need to look at yourself like a detective who is tirelessly looking for the answers to your research question. When you come across sources that might be okay, you scan them, and then you have to read them and realize that some of them pan out with information you need and some of them don't. You have to continue to persevere and be sure to ask for help when you need it. The rule is always ask 3 and then your teacher. The first thing you do when you find a source that's possibly going to work, you need to make sure that you record your MLA citation on your notes page. That is crucial, or you will have times when you can't find where you got some piece of information. The other thing you need to remember is that you're using information that is balanced and from 3 different sources that are included in our databases, books in the library, or you can even find an expert. The internet is strictly reserved for people who cannot find anything on their source, and your teacher will help you find stuff on the internet and fill out a website evaluation form. At this point in the process, you will have generated one big research question and multiple supporting questions. To help in your searches of the databases, make sure that you've listed as many keywords as you can think of that are related to your topic. When you get to databases and you get stuck, these keywords are your lifeline. Also, be sure that you have all the materials you need to get going. Your teacher would have sent you templates for your notes page, templates for your outline, templates for your final copy of your iSearch paper. So make sure that you have everything that you need, and if you don't have something, be sure and flag your teacher down. Before we get started on how to take notes over a source, we must first understand the different types of information you will be using when you write your iSearch paper. It is essential to understand these types of information because you have to learn how not to plagiarize. You have to learn to give credit where credit is due. You have to give credit for both ideas and for wording. So in order to understand when to cite and when not to, you need to understand the different types of information. The first one is common knowledge. This is information that all people know. We use the person on the street test. If you were to pass somebody on the street and ask them a question about a piece of information, would he or she know the answer to your question? If the answer is yes, then it might be common knowledge and you do not have to cite that information. The next type of information is direct quotations. Direct quotations are the exact words of the source. Researchers use this option in their writing, usually when a source or a person says something that no one else could say any better. For the purpose of your iSearch paper, you are only allowed to include 2 direct quotations. They must both be short quotations, meaning they must be 3 lines, not 3 sentences or less. Quotations must be cited and are in quotation marks, but still blended, embedded, and introduced into your writing so that the writing continues to flow seamlessly. The next type of information is called a paraphrase. These instances are facts that have been put into the researcher's own words, but are not his or her ideas. They are not in quotations, but do have proper parenthetical citation. For most of you, 8 of your 10 facts will be this type of information. Ideally, paraphrased information is about the same number of words, but as in the researcher's words, nothing should be repeated, and the sentence structure is completely different. The last type of information is a summary. A summary takes a lot of information and puts it into less words. A summary has the main idea and details from the beginning, middle, and end of a source. These are helpful to researchers when they need to add information from a whole source. They are cited. Your paper may have some of these. Usually they are whole paragraphs that start, "When I read Danielle Paff's article on..." To teach you how to take notes, we're going to use a source from the Encyclopedia Britannica, which is one of our databases on our library website. Usually researchers use primary sources, but for the purpose of your research and also your age, we'll be using both primary and secondary sources. Britannica is a great source of information that can help you with general information about your topic. Usually when you're at home with your friends trying to figure out something, you use Wikipedia, but Encyclopedia Britannica has been vetted and therefore it's a more reliable source. All of the databases launch from the Dawson Middle School library homepage. So you're going to start from the Dawson Middle School homepage, go to the library homepage, and then open up the tab under databases. Once you've opened Encyclopedia Britannica, you'll put our username and password in. For Dawson students, that's Dawson MS, and our password is Lone Star. Then you're going to choose middle or high, depending on your topic. Don't choose elementary because the information isn't going to be extensive enough and it's going to be below your reading level. Type in one of your keywords, and a bunch of articles are going to come up. Scan the articles and see which one might help you the most. Be sure to try multiple keywords and multiple times until you find an article you feel good about. Once you have the article, you're going to open it up and you're going to scan it to see if it has any information. If it does have information, then the very first thing you're going to do is cite it. For Encyclopedia Britannica, the box with the check mark is where the citation tool is. You'll click that, make sure it's on MLA, copy that, and then paste it into your first notes page. So you've found an article that's going to work off of Encyclopedia Britannica. You have found the citation button and you've clicked it and you've copied and pasted the citation and put it at the top of your notes page. You've checked your notes page and made sure that your overall research question is at the top. Now you need to read. But first, you print your article. Print it two-sided so that we can save paper. And if that print looks like it's going to be longer than 10 pieces of paper, you need to talk to your teacher. Actively reading means that you're highlighting facts that you might use that are answering your research question in one color. And then if you're lucky enough to find a quotation, you highlight that in a different color. Here is the first page of a research article from Britannica. You can tell that the student has highlighted in yellow the possible facts that she might use to answer her research question, and then she has used pink for things that she might use as direct quotations. You can also annotate an article just like you would any article, unwrap it just like you would. That will help you to understand it and comprehend it, and also use it in your paper. Once you have read and highlighted the source, then you will write a 5 to 8 sentence summary of the article. First, you write the main idea of the entire article. Then a detail or two from the beginning, a detail or two from the middle, and a detail or two from the end. You will place the citation outside the last period in the last sentence. Here is what the notes page looks like when you are finished with the summary. You'll notice at the top the research question has been typed in. Then in the box, the MLA citation that was taken from the citation tool off the Encyclopedia Britannica. The next thing is the summary. It needs to be 5 to 8 sentences, around 150 words or less. Notice that the citation is outside the last period, and for this particular article there is no author, so the title is in quotation marks. Your next step is to go through your highlighted facts. Choose 2 to 3, you can do more if you want to add to the paraphrased part. These should be in your own words. The best way to do this is to read the sentences you think you might be using, put the source down, and then rewrite the information in your own words and in a new sentence structure. Then add the citation at the end of the writing. Here is an example of the same notes page that was used for the summary. You can see that there are 3 different facts the writer decided to use. She went in and she wrote all of these in her own words. These are not her ideas, but they are her words. That is the reason there are no quotation marks, but there is still a citation at the end of each sentence, and the period goes on the outside of the citation. The last item on the note page is where you record direct quotations you might use. You will actually go into the source electronically and copy the lines you're going to use and then paste that into this section of your notes. Add quotation marks if quotation marks need to be added. Remember, quotation marks mean both not my words and not the writer's ideas. Then you will add the citation at the end. It is also important that you know who the speaker of that quotation was. Sometimes that comes from the source, so the author is the speaker. Sometimes it actually comes from someone that's being quoted in the source. You got to be careful about that and make sure you know who is saying that quotation and record it where you need to record it. Here is that same example notes page. This is the part where the direct quotations are. Notice the quotation marks around the lines that have been copied. Notice the citation again at the end of the quotation. And then there's a little note from the researcher that says this is directly from the source and doesn't have a speaker. And then in parentheses she wrote probably won't use. Quotations again are used when something can't be said any better than that person said it. It's not used for just general facts that you could reword. So this researcher has put something in the notes page because she wants to get credit for it, but she may or may not use it going forward. In the My Ideas section of your notes page, you will actually write what you learned and how the source helps you answer your research question or sub-questions. Maybe this information made you generate a new question that you're going to pursue, or maybe go in a different direction for your research, or maybe it was just really, really interesting. This section should be about 5 to 8 sentences long, about 150 words long. It just gets your brain going so that you can actually write commentary in your research paper and kind of talk about what you learned. Again, this is the same note page that the researcher is researching Vikings. And this is what she thought after she mined these facts and quotations out of the source. It's a little short right now, so she'll add some stuff to it before she turns it in on the due date and also when she turns in all of her notes. But it's a good start for her ideas section. Once your first notes page is complete, you will continue the process for the next 3 to 4 to 5 sources, depending on how many you need. Be sure to explore other databases that are in the packet. Make sure that you don't only use Britannica, because you can only use Britannica once. Maybe explore an expert. Maybe you know someone who knows a lot about your topic and you want to interview them. Have your teacher help you generate questions for that person and maybe email them or interview them face-to-face or on the phone. Explore books in the library. You can always ask for a library pass if there's a book in the library that you would like to use as one of your sources. Again, going out on the big scary web is not an option until you've exhausted all other sources and then talk to your teacher, because then you have to go through a website evaluation to make sure that the information is reliable. And sometimes that's a bit of a process for your age group, but we can do it if we need to. You've come to the end of our lesson on how to take notes over sources. Don't forget, you need to take your short quiz on Canvas that proves that you have finished your lesson. Then you're going to start doing the steps in your very own research. Remember, stay curious, persevere, and you will be fine. Also, you need to have at least 3 notes pages because you have to use information from at least 3 sources. Keep in mind that your paper should show a balance of research, which means that all of your information cannot come from one source. You have to synthesize information from multiple sources in order to call it a valid research paper. Most of my students have ended up with 4 or 5 notes pages before they get it all said and done. At the end of each day, it's a really good idea to write a 1-sentence reflection of the day's work so that you'll be able to go back over that later on. Also, assign yourself homework, keeping in mind of all the due dates. Good luck. You're going to do great. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it.